This is the first recording of my learner who is in grade 4.
Adventure to Remember by Annabel D. Maranon. Kel was looking at the clouds one afternoon while he laid on the grass. He was thinking about what is a found juice wheat and cottony clouds are their kids. After whom he can't play with. Do they have toys the same as his? Do their parents allow them to play outside their houses? Are 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 they free from the COVID-19 pandemics? These are the questions that play in this mid-cal fat sad after because in the past few months he was not able to do his so unusual hobbies like playing with his friends. Kyle was thinking deeply when a with white big cat after in front of him. It is smiling broadly, which is unusual for a cat. His tail was positioned straight in the air. Has is what was happy to see him. He was about to rub the cat when it ran fastly away from him. Kel was tempted to run after the cat. He did not think what that he'd gone far. He was missed when he saw the cat flaunted over the rainbow. He followed it until it reached its destination. He saw an open gate of a kingdom. The cat, looking back at him, still smiling, and said, "Welcome to our magical kingdom." Kel was printed when he realized that the cat was speaking, but still said it so coherently. "Where am I?" The cat did answer, and subtly it subtly it disappeared like a bubble. Kel entered in the magical kingdom. He was welcomed by a wizard. He saw many children riding on different rides. All were smiling and looking. He was standing when a crowd of children abo- approached him. Them invi- invite him to come with them and try the different rides. Different crowd in a hot air balloons in which Durants lived the world behind and enjoyed the excitement of flight. The ride has then colorful balloons that rise off the ground, has and spin, taking the readers off home and away. After the first ride, they turned to experience the adventure of riding a dinosaur, just like in the movies. Then choose from the six dinosaur tabs ride. Kel and maneuver it up and down. Wait, wet, well in reverence pressure around the central point. Kel was enjoying the company of his now proud friend as the shoes anime and mostly the their ride, which is the pointing boulder, a mini tower ride what can carry at least 6 passengers to a height, height of approximately 10 meters, then shortly, shortly drops in a series of shoot drop drops. They were restless and enjoying each their other others companies, so they also dreamt of others rides until they heard and an an cement yan everyone was asked to ready themselves for the magical moonlight parade at the end of the empty witnessed the colorful fire- fireworks fireworks display. Haskell was looking in the fireworks display. He said that his playing was family was also there too. When said what he saw, he missed them subtly and shows this eyes he felt common common someone has taping his cheeks. He opened his eyes slowly and saw her mother. Seemed that had a great dream. You were smiling favor at the bed. Your cheek said, Mother. Cal really said that it was all a dream. Uh, I clearly experienced a good dream, like what Down was true. He said, he started to narrate his adventure to mother on their back home. Adventure to remember be by Annabel D. Simaranon.
The learner initially mispronounced the word by as be and eventually corrected it. The learner also mispronounced the name Annabel as Annabel and surname Marañon as Maranon.
Kel was looking at the clowns
The learner mispronounced the name Kiel as Kel and clouds as clowns.
one afternoon. Well, he laid
The learner substituted well for while.
on the grass.
The learner mispronounced grass as grash.
He was thinking about what is a found juice with
The learner mispronounced above as a fond, dose as choose, and white as wheat.
and cottony clowns
The learner mispronounced clouds as clowns once again.
er, er their kids after
The learner mispronounced R as E and then said Also, the learner mispronounced up as F.
whom he can't play with
The learner mispronounced play as flay.
do they have toys the same as his.
The learner read have toys twice and also inserted h in the beginning of the word as.
Do their parents allow them
The learner said friends instead of parents and mispronounced allow as allow.
to play outside their housed
The learner initially omitted s in houses and said housed.
air air are the free from
The learner mispronounced R as and then said av, also mispronounced they as d.
the COVID-19 pandemics.
The learner inserted s sound at the end of the word pandemic.
These are the question
The learner once again initially mispronounced R as but eventually corrected himself this time. He also omitted s sound in questions.
that play in this mid
The learner read the word his as this and mispronounced mind as mid.
Kel felt sad after
The name Kiel was mispronounced as Kel once again, and mispronounced also felt as fet, and substituted after for the word often.
because in the past few months
The learner mispronounced past as fast and few as pel.
he was not able
The learner mispronounced the word able as able.
to do his so unusual habits like playing with
The learner mispronounced the word usual as asal and then said unusual. He also mispronounced the word habits as habits.
this friend.
The learner said this instead of his and mispronounced friends as friends.
Kyle, Kel was thinking deeply.
The name Kiel was mispronounced once again, but this time he initially said Kyle and then said Kel.
When a with white big cat after and
The learner mispronounced white as wheat but eventually corrected himself. He also mispronounced appeared as a trend.
in front of him. It is smiling broadly,
The learner inserted h sound at the beginning of is.
which is unusual for a cat.
The learner mispronounced the word unusual as unusual.
His tail was facilitated straight
The learner read its as is and also mispronounced the word positioned as positioned.
in the air. Has is what was happy to see him.
The learner once again inserted h sound at the beginning of as, read it as is, and initially read was as what but eventually corrected himself.
He was about to rub the cat when it ran fastly away from him. Kel was tempted to run after the cat.
The name Kiel was pronounced as Kel once again and mispronounced the word tempted as temped.
He did not take what I thought he'd gone far.
The learner read didn't as did, mispronounced notice as notics, initially mispronounced that as what but corrected himself, mispronounced he'd as he but eventually corrected himself, and mispronounced gone as goned.
He was amazed when he saw the cat
The learner mispronounced the word amazed as missed.
flaunted over the rainbow.
The word floated was mispronounced as fronted.
He followed it until it reached.
The learner mispronounced the word followed as flow and then said followed, also substituted him for the word it. The learner mispronounced the word until as until and reached as reached.
Its destination.
The learner mispronounced the word destination as destination.
He saw an open gate of a kingdom. The cat, looking back at him, still smiling, and said,
The learner mispronounced the word said as said.
"Welcome to our magical kingdom." Kel was printed when he really said,
The learner mispronounced the name Kiel as Kel once more and frightened as frented. The learner also mispronounced the word realized as raids and then said really said.
that the cat was speaking about still said it so coherently.
The learner read bought as bout and mispronounced ask as said. The learner also mispronounced the word courageously as so and then said correctly.
Where am I? The cat did answer.
The learner mispronounced the word didn't as did once again and the word answer as answer.
And subtly it subtly it disappeared.
The learner mispronounced the word suddenly as rableltali, inserted subtly it in the between it and disappeared, and also mispronounced the word disappeared as disappeared.
Like a bubble. Kel entered in the magical kingdom.
The learner mispronounced the name Kiel as Kel, entered as entered, and omitted the in magical.
He was welcomed by a wizard.
The learner read he twice.
He saw many children riding
The learner read many as money and eventually corrected himself. Also read riding as read and eventually corrected himself.
on different rides. All were smiling and looking.
The learner initially read all correctly and then said ow. The word where is mispronounced as where and laughing as looking.
He was stating
Standing was mispronounced as stading.
when a crowd of children
The learner said ground instead of group.
abo- approached him
The learner mispronounced the word approach as appro and then said approachek.
them invi- invite him to come with them
The learner said then instead of they. He initially mispronounced invited as in bit and said invite.
and try the different rides.
The learner mispronounced the word different as deferent.
They friends crowd in a hot air balloons
The word first was mispronounced as friends. The word in was read twice. Also inserted s at the end of the word balloon.
in which Durance leave the world behind
The learner mispronounced the word riders as derrens and also mispronounced the word behind as behind.
and enjoy the excitement of flight.
The word excitement was mispronounced as expel and then excitement. However, the word flight was mispronounced as right and then successfully corrected it.
The ride has then colorful balloons
The learner mispronounced the word ten as den and initially mispronounced colorful as colof but eventually corrected himself.
that rise of the ground has spin
The learner read the word end as has.
and spin taking the readers of on and away.
The learner inserted and spin in between spin and taking mispronounced riders as readers, mispronounced the first up as off, and mispronounced the second up as on.
After the first ride, they turned to experience.
The learner said trend instead of chide and mispronounced the word experience as experience.
The adventure of riding a dinosaur just
The learner initially mispronounced adventure as afen and then successfully corrected himself. The learner also mispronounced dinosaur as dinosaur.
like in the movies, then choose from the six dinosaur tabs right
The learner read they as den and mispronounced chose as choose. The learner also mispronounced dinosaur as dinosaur again.
Kel and maneuver it up and down.
The learner omitted the word to, inserted kel in between ride and end, read maneuver as manner and maneuver, also mispronounced up as af.
Wait, wet, well,
The learner mispronounced while as wait, wet, and then well.
in reverence, pressure, a- around the central point.
The learner read it as in, initially pronounced revolves as rebellence, and then said pisher. Also mispronounced around as ak and ak ground.
Kel was enjoying the company
The learner mispronounced the word kiel as kel once more, and mispronounced the word company as company.
of his now proud friend as the shoes and
The learner mispronounced the word newfound as now found, omitted s in the word friends, read so as has, they as the, and mispronounced chose as shoe and then said shoes.
uh, anime and mostly the their ride
The learner mispronounced the word unanimously as ano, anime, and anmously. Also mispronounced the word third as the and ride as red.
which is the pointing boulder
The learner mispronounced bouncing as boincing and boulder as boulder.
a mini tower ride what can carry at
The learner mispronounced tower as tower, that as what, and also mispronounced the word carry as carry.
least six messenger to a height of
The learner said messenger instead of passengers. Also, the learner initially read height as hit and then successfully corrected himself.
approximately 10 meters
The learner mispronounced the word approximately as approximately and meters as meters.
then shortly, shortly drops
The learner mispronounced the word quickly as chuli and then said chuxli. The learner also mispronounced the word drops as chops.
in a series of shoot drop drops.
The learner mispronounced the word series as series, short as sho and then shoot, drops as chop and then chops.
They were restless and enjoying
The learner mispronounced the word day as ti and tireless as tireles.
each their other others companies, so they also dreamt of
The learner mispronounced the word others as their, ouder, and then others. The learner read company twice, mispronounced they as the, and inserted trend of in between tried and other. Also inserted s at the end of the word other.
others rides until they heard
The learner inserted s at the end of the word other and also mispronounced the word they as the, heard as heard.
and an an cement
The learner initially read an as in and corrected himself eventually, mispronounced announcement as announcement.
ever young everyone was asked to ready
The learner mispronounced everyone as everyan, mispronounced ask as asked, and ready as ready.
teams service for the magical
The learner mispronounced the word themselves as themselves.
moonlight parade at the end of the empty witnessed the
The learner mispronounced the word they as the and witnessed as witnessed.
colorful fire- fireworks fireworks display.
The learner initially pronounced fireworks as fair and then fireworks, and then successfully corrected himself.
Haskell was looking in
The learner inserted h sound at the beginning of as and mispronounced the word kiel as kel once more.
the fireworks display.
The learner initially read fireworks as fireworks and then successfully corrected himself.
He said that his playing was family was also there too.
The learner mispronounced the word wished as wished, family as plain, and inserted family was in between was and also.
When said what he saw,
The learner mispronounced the word witnessed as witnessed.
he missed them subtly
The learner mispronounced the word missed as missed and suddenly as subtly.
and chose this as his
The learner read closed as choose and his as this.
felt felt common common one has taping his cheeks.
The learner read felt twice, mispronounced someone as common, comma, and common.
He opened his eyes slowly and
The learner mispronounced opened as opened.
saw her mother. Seemed that had a great dream you
The learner omitted the word it, mispronounced the word seemed as seemed, and omitted the word you.
were smiling favor at the bed. Your check see
The learner mispronounced the word before as pabor, I as a, taped as tabed, your as you, and cheeks as check.
mother.
The learner mispronounced the word said as sid.
Hell really said that it was all a dream.
The learner mispronounced the name Kiel as Kel once more, mispronounced the word realized as re, and then said really said.
Uh, I clearly experienced a good dream like what
The learner initially read I as a, and then successfully corrected himself, mispronounced rarely as carelly, mispronounced experience as experienced, inserted good between a and dream, and mispronounced that as what.
down was true. He
The learner omitted the word I. The learner mispronounced thought as down and it as toes.
said
The learner mispronounced the word said as sad.
that he intended to guarantee his adventure
The learner mispronounced started as tented, mispronounced narrate as herenti, and then herty.
to mother on their back home.
The learner omitted the word way.